It's August 28th, 1963. 250,000 people, black, white, young, old, stand shoulder to shoulder in Washington, D.C. They've marched for jobs, for freedom, for equality. At the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, a 34-year-old preacher from Atlanta steps to the microphone. His name is Martin Luther King Jr. In 17 minutes, he'll deliver a speech that echoes through history. I have a dream. Let's relive that moment. King begins with a nod to history. 50 years ago, he says, echoing Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. That was 1863, a century ago. Lincoln's decree freed enslaved people. But King looks out at the crowd and declares, 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. He paints a stark picture. Black Americans are crippled by segregation, chained by discrimination. They live on a lonely island of poverty in a nation of prosperity. King calls this a shameful condition, but he's not here to despair. He's here to demand change. We've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. He says, a check for freedom, promised by the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. America, he says, has defaulted on that promise. It's given black citizens a bad check marked insufficient funds. But King refuses to believe the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We've come to cash this check, he thunders. A check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. The crowd roars, 250,000 voices united in hope. King sets the tone with urgency. Now is the time, he repeats. Now is the time to rise from segregation's dark valley to the sunlit path of justice. Now is the time to lift the nation from quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. The moment is now. Not tomorrow, not next year. The urgency electrifies the air, but King knows the road to justice isn't easy. He warns against bitterness. Let's not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred, he says. The struggle must be dignified, disciplined. He calls for nonviolence, a principle he's lived by, inspired by Gandhi and his Christian faith. He urges the crowd to meet physical force with soul force. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence, he insists. And he reminds them, this isn't just a black fight. Many white allies stand with them today. Their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom, he says. We cannot walk alone. King acknowledges the suffering. Some in the crowd have come fresh from jail cells, beaten for daring to demand equality. Others are veterans of the movement, scarred by years of struggle. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive, he tells them. He urges them to go back to Mississippi, to Alabama, to Georgia, not in defeat, but with hope. I say to you today, my friends, even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. And here it comes, the vision that will define this speech. I have a dream, King declares, his voice rising. It's a dream rooted in the American dream, a dream of a future where his 4 children, little Yolanda, Martin III, Dexter, and Bernice, will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The crowd erupts. He dreams of a transformed South. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. He dreams of Mississippi, a state burning with injustice, becoming an oasis of freedom and justice. King's dream stretches across the nation. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. He says, quoting the Bible's Isaiah, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. He envisions children in Alabama, black and white, holding hands as sisters and brothers. The crowd is on its feet, swept up in the vision. He pivots to unity. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day, right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. It's a radical vision in a segregated America. King closes with a crescendo. He imagines freedom ringing across the nation, from the Rockies of Colorado to the Stone Mountain of Georgia, from the Alleghenies of Pennsylvania to every hill in Mississippi. Let freedom ring, he cries again and again. And when it does, all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. The crowd erupts in thunderous applause. Martin Luther King Jr. steps back, his words hanging in the air. On that day, he didn't just speak, he ignited a movement. His dream became a beacon, a call to action that still resonates. I Have a Dream wasn't just a speech, it was a promise, a challenge, a hope for a better tomorrow.